When you first started working on growing your glutes, how long does it take you to see results? PS, you're a beast. And this is underscore Mari9204. Okay, so when I first really seen progress was after my second bikini show, and it was after like I had put on weight. So I'm not really sure how far this goes into science. I don't really know the backing behind it, but I've heard that like over time where your body holds fat can like slightly change. And I'm not kidding you guys, like before like lifting, I did not have butt. Like I had like longer man type glutes, but I did not have any kind of like substantial, like, you know, a girl walks by and you're like, dang, that guy got like a nice butt. Like I did not have that. Okay, so that is where I seen the most progression with my glutes, was after my 2 bikini shows. And why? Because I was pushing a lot of volume on my glutes, because obviously that was a focused area that I was trying to focus on, because that's what they look at in bikini. Being consistent and really pushing a lot of volume on my glutes is when I really seen progress with my glutes. What is my long-term goal? My long-term goal really overall, I'm still kind of figuring it out. I'm fairly young still, so no one has it figured out, believe me. Even if we look like we do, we don't. My long-term goal initially is to really help women. My long-term goal is with the platforms that I have, as far as YouTube, as far as you know, Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff, I really want to help women all around, like mentally and physically. So there have been some brainstorm ideas of things that I want to do in the future, that I really want to bring to life. So that is going to be my long-term goal. So I hope that answered that question. It was Karen.Valdez. Yes. And then, what inspired you to get into fitness? Mark.Mercado. What inspired me to get into fitness? Well, one thing was, I've always been like a huge partier basically, and fitness really like took me away from that. But when I really was inspired to get into fitness was when I actually started, like, you know, just like getting into the gym like every other person. And I really just seen like how great it was. Like it's like you're constantly progressing, whether it's mentally or physically. And I just like really fell in love with that, because I have always been somebody who's very goal driven, a go-getter. And like with fitness, it's like there's just always areas to work on. There's always things to work towards. And so I guess what really made me fall in love with it was just the overall aspect of constantly progressing in a positive way. So thanks for the question. Some of my favorite gym accessories. So some of my favorite, and this is underscore and Nudie and Courtney. Some of my favorite gym accessories would definitely be squat shoes, just because they're really essential and they're gonna help you with your squat. Knee sleeves, they basically do the same thing. They're gonna help you with your squat, and they help keep your knees safe. Wrist wraps, especially if you're somebody who suffers with like, you know, like just like wrist issues and stuff like that. Wrist wraps are my favorite. And my belt. My belt is my life. So those are definitely my favorite accessories for the gym. This is Fierce_BessieB again. Thank you for this question. My hidden talent is I can eat a full Costco pizza in under a minute. Just kidding. I wish I could do that. Costco pizza is so good. But I would say a hidden talent I would consider my talent would be I sing. But yes, that would be my hidden talent. I do sing. I love to sing. What is your biggest challenge, or was? And this is Jerome Rogers _. My biggest challenge. Wow, this is actually a good question. Biggest challenge. My biggest challenge in life, God, there's just so many things that could have been a biggest challenge for me in my life. It would had to have been, and it's still something that I actually have to work on, because I feel like I still have like a little bit of resentment inside of me for it. My biggest challenge would be forgiving my parents for just not being the best parents that they could have been. You know, they both came from not great backgrounds, but at the end of the day, like, I didn't really have like any kind of like parental like growing up. So, you know, there's just some things that I get really upset about myself about just how I could be like more structured in some ways, or you know, if I had like parents who, you know, were there and really cared and helped guide me, just like how much further I could be in life. And so I still battle with forgiving my dad and my mom for that, because I am very proud of, you know, how far I have come basically on my own. But they did try the best that they could. You know, they were kids raising kids type of deal, so that's just never good. But that would probably be like a challenge, like a mental challenge for me. That's really, really hard, even still to this day, kind of for me to just like overcome, is like, you know, just seeing who I am and knowing who I could have been if I had like parents that were there and really, really helped guide me. But it's kind of like, I don't know. So I guess that would be the challenge. I hope that answered the question. Yeah, I know you guys don't know too deep into my life, but that would be a challenge that I need to overcome, is learning to like forgive my parents, because I am a very, very forgiving person. It's just like when it comes to that, it's like hard for me to really, really let go of it. So not to get emotional on you or anything. Okay. So I go to the gym at 5 a.m. trying to gain some booty. What do you suggest doing? How much food should I eat before my workout? This really depends. If you are going into the gym and, you know, you're gonna have like a really big strength day, again, everyone's different, so this is just gonna be a very broad answer. And this is Hot Mama _3. So I would suggest like 40 to 50 grams of carbs before you're going in, especially if you're going to have like a heavy strength day. But if you're gonna have like a light accessory day, you know, meaning like you're gonna do some bicep curls and you're gonna do some back or something like that, you know, it just ranges. On a strength day, I would suggest 40 to 50 grams of carbs before you go in. Protein, it could vary. And, you know, on days where it's just like smaller accessory days, you could have as many as like 20 to 30 carbs. So that's how I would answer that for you. But then again, everyone's very individual, so it's really hard to actually like pinpoint and answer that question. So I hope that was helpful. Chrissy Poo. Chrissy Poo? Yes, Chrissy Poo. What's your horoscope? I'm guessing some kind of fire sign. Actually, I'm a Sagittarius, so I don't know if that's a fire sign. I don't think that's a fire sign. But I was born in December, so I'm a Sagittarius, and I've always thought that the word Sagittarius is very ugly. So that's what I am, girl. When you track macros, this is lifted personal training. When you track macros, do you need to meet your macros or calories? If you have grams left in your macros, should you focus on meeting your macros? And if it's okay, go over your calories, or should you meet your calories and don't worry about your macros? Ideally, yes, you should divide and plan your day, but if not, then what would you suggest? So in terms of that, there's a difference between counting calories and counting macros. This is a very, very in-depth question. Okay, so let me just make it as simple as possible. When you count calories, you do not know how much carbs, fat, and protein you're intaking. Calories is just a number. So that is the whole reason why you should be counting macros. And I literally just did a video on how I diet and how to gain muscle. Look that video up. I basically go over everything of why you should count macros. So in order to progress as far as like strength, your physique, all these things tie hand in hand. And if you're not individually for you getting in the correct amount of protein, you're not gonna see any progression as far as like strength, physique, whatever, what I just said. So if you're counting calories, there's no way in heck you're gonna know how much protein you're getting in, because this is just, calories is just one whole number. It is a breakdown of macros, but it's one whole number. So You need to be counting macro numbers to know exactly how much protein you're getting in, because when you count calories, you're not gonna know how much protein you're getting in. And if you're only getting in 60 grams of protein, you're not gonna be seeing any progression in your strength or in your physique. So I hope that answered that question quickly, because we could get very into depth with that question. So thank you for that question, Lifted Personal Training. That was a good one. Am I competing in bikini again? You know what, guys? I don't know if I am or not. Like I've said many times before in other vlogs as well, I love bikini. You know, I love powerlifting. They're both very, very different in their own worlds, but I don't know if I'm gonna compete in bikini again. There's just a lot of things to it. There's a lot of projects that I really want to focus on, as far as like YouTube and just like a whole bunch of other things, ebooks. And when you are prepping for a bikini show, it's extremely demanding. It's like literally like a second job, I kid you not. You have to prep your food, you have to do your cardio, you have to pose. People don't even factor that part in. You have to pose, you have to do your workouts. So that's 4 whole things. That's like, it's just very, very demanding. So I would love to step on stage again, but I just don't know when that time is gonna be. It's like yes or no if I am ever gonna compete in bikini again. So, and that was Casey Richards. Thank you, Casey. Raylene Ray, what's the best powerlifting gear, or what gear would someone new to powerlifting need? So all of this stuff, you're gonna eventually need to get depending on where you stand with your strength. Because no matter what, obviously, if you're doing the correct kind of training, you're gonna start putting on strength, start lifting heavier weight, all that stuff. And so your joints and your tendons really do take like a beating with powerlifting. So things that I would definitely suggest getting, and one thing is it can get kind of pricey, is you definitely need squat shoes. That's gonna tremendously help with your squat. Knee sleeves are really, really needed eventually, when you start like lifting heavier weight. Wrist wraps are really good just to help with like stabilization when you're, benching, keeping them more like straight when if you squat low bar and you kind of have to, position the bar like this, and they're gonna kind of, just be bent. So I would definitely say knee sleeves, squat shoes, wrist wraps, actually definitely chalk, making sure that your grip gets stronger. So definitely pick up some chalk. That is definitely what I would suggest, actually. Good question. Lindsay Fellows, here's another question from Lindsay. If you had tips for getting used to squatting with a mirror, oh, this is a good one, Lindsay. Or if you have any personal experience with that. I'm used to using it to check form and depth. It's challenging without it. Thanks. Heart emoji. So Lindsay, great question. When you train, I don't know okay, so when you train in a mirror, it's tremendously different from when you don't train in a mirror. So I actually started training in a mirror, and then as soon as I stopped, I trained one day without the mirror, I was like, what am I doing? So the thing is, especially if you're going to powerlift, and if you aren't, I recommend to you guys never training with a mirror, because how your brain learns the movement is so different. And especially, you feel it, you're like, what do I do? So your body, when you are looking in the mirror, it's kind of like the muscle mind connection isn't happening, because it's happening, but to a point, because you're looking at yourself and you're seeing your depth, you're watching, your motion and everything like that. So I would highly suggest, if you are facing towards the mirror, you can most likely unclamp it and face the other way. Do that, because not only are you naturally gonna learn where your depth hole is, and that is so important for if you ever compete in powerlifting, because that is one of the first things that'll get called as far as commandments, meaning you'll miss the lift, is not hitting depth. So it's really good to learn the movement not in a mirror. So there's no really advice to it. It's just start training without a mirror. That is the best advice I can give to you with anything. So yeah, you learn better where your depth's at, you feel the movement more, and it's just, training in a mirror is not going to be beneficial for you. So definitely train not in a mirror, okay? It's literally like your body relearns the movement, like genuinely. That's why it feels so foreign when you are looking in the mirror and then you aren't looking in a mirror anymore. That's why it feels extremely foreign, because it's like your body is relearning the movement, because you're not like staring at yourself. It's like the muscle mind connection that happens, like when you're actually like really thinking about the movement, and you're not thinking about how you look, and you're filling out where your depth's at and stuff like that. So don't train looking in a mirror. Okay, this is another question from Lindsay. Lindsay girl, you got some good questions. Do you think having a coach or a workout partner makes a huge difference versus trying to do it on your own? As far as like a workout partner, and this is something that I've actually talked to a lot of people about, especially one of my really good friends actually, having a workout partner is always nice, because you'll find that you're more motivated when you get in there, meaning like you just feel like a little bit more motivated. I don't know how to explain it. It's not that like they motivate you or you feel like you need to like show out just because they're there or something. It's just like, it's more motivating because you're there with somebody who's, you know, doing what you're doing, and you guys are working in together, and you guys are talking about fitness most likely, and it's like, it's just nice having a companion in the gym, not like boyfriend or girlfriend, but like just like having like a companion there, if that makes sense. But it's not good to like get used to always going with somebody, because if you're somebody who is going to like achieve stuff in the gym, you're not always going to be with a person. So it is good just to learn how to like, you know, go to the gym by yourself and be motivated like with yourself, if that makes sense. Because a lot of people nowadays, I feel like, rely on other people to go to the gym with them. And like, if I did that, I would not be where I'm at right now. I learned that a long time ago. Like, you can't rely on people to go to the gym, so just don't do that. And do you think having a coach makes a big difference versus trying to do it on your own? Absolutely. Once you reach a certain point with your training, unless you do crazy research and you know exactly what sources are good and what sources are bad, because as we know, fitness and nutrition are just so vast, you need to reach out to help from somebody else who's more advanced than you, who has more experience than you, who's going to be able to advance you to where you can be, as opposed to reaching a certain plateau in your training or with your physique and, you know, trying to do it on your own. Most likely you're not going to be doing it correctly, as opposed to reaching out to some. It's like anybody trying to get a job in something. Like, you can't just go and, you know, apply to it and you're just like gonna get the job. Like, you have to have some kind of like good foundation, or be educated in some way to a higher extent. I don't know if that's like a good metaphor or whatever, but it's gonna make a huge difference. Like, for me, I wouldn't be where I am with training if I didn't reach out to somebody who was more knowledgeable than me, who knew more than me, that I can learn from and grow with, while also progressing with my fitness. So yes, I hope that answers that question. Yes. Anyways, guys, I love you. I don't know how long this video was, but the first Q&A was definitely a lot longer. I forget how long Q&As are. You gotta go into depth with some of these answers. I just want to thank you guys so much for participating in this. If Q&As are videos that you guys want to see more often, please give it a thumbs up. Or any videos that you guys have any ideas of that you want to see, let me know, comment below. Yeah, so that is gonna end this Q&A. I hope I was able to name all your guys' IG handles. You guys are great. All of those are really good questions. I hope you learned something from it. I hope I was able to answer the questions to the best of my abilities, to where it was like actually like satisfying for you guys. I'm sorry if some questions you were just like expecting more of an answer and it just wasn't as like, you know, as you wanted it to be or what have you. But please give the video a thumbs up, helps me out a lot. Comment below if you have any questions. And yeah, that was part 2 of Q&A. I love you guys. Okay, bye guys. Mwah!